The Greg Kelly Show.
Wow. This is, I guess this is what brainwashed looks like, right? This is what propaganda, this is what it feels like. This must have been what it was like to, a little bit, right down to the shortages in the stores, what it was like in the Soviet Union. Okay, the party has decided that this is the person, and everybody goes on and hails the new leader. No questions asked. We're just going to pretend that this was all normal. We're going to pretend that what just happened didn't happen. I've been talking to lots of people, the establishment, really. All right. The establishment, the elite media, the pundits, lobbyists, all of those folks. And you know what they're all excited about? Kamala. Isn't she going to be great? Oh, she raised $100 million, $100 million. That's a number on a piece of paper. I don't give a damn right now. I want to know what the hell just happened. All right. Did they kidnap this guy? I don't like Joe Biden. You don't like Joe Biden. Nobody likes Joe Biden. All right. But I don't want Barack Obama sitting around and appointing presidents of the United States. And I think that's what they're trying to make happen here. Joe Biden goes missing, essentially missing in Las Vegas. Rumors of a medical episode. The last time we see him is when he gets back from Vegas Wednesday night. He can barely walk. They got to carry him into that SUV. And then he's dark Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. A letter comes out almost like, I don't know. It wasn't proof of life. It was like one of those creepy letters from the 1970s that the mad bomber would leave, right? Just with those letters from magazines on it and spells something. What's going on here? Why was that letter on Joe Biden stationery? Why is he leaving? It just says he's going to not run for re-election. It just, you don't do that. It's too important. It's too big a deal. And we need proof of life. I guess we're going to get it tonight. We saw it. Yesterday was not proof of life. Yesterday was showing that he could barely walk from the SUV to the plane, turn around, took about 30 seconds, crooked salute, and then get on the plane. Isn't anybody wondering how this happened? Now, I reported yesterday, and the New York Post has been great. We went through it. It is reported that they threatened him with the 25th Amendment. That's fascinating. I think that's newsworthy. What is the 25th Amendment? They could have removed Biden involuntarily. How would they have done that? If Kamala Harris put in writing, along with half of the cabinet, and looking at the cabinet, she could have pulled that off. That's not in this. When everybody is worshiping Barack Obama, that could have been done. Barack Obama gives a signal. They write that letter, send it to not Nancy Pelosi. They send it to the majority leader of the. They send it to Chuck Schumer, and they send one to Johnson, and that's it. That's all they had to do. They didn't have to get a vote from Congress. They just needed their signatures, and that's it, and a stamp. And Joe Biden would have been removed from office for at least 30 days, and Kamala Harris would have been. This is what he was threatened with. You heard him just a couple of days ago saying, I'm not leaving, right? He said, I am not going to go. Forget it. It's not happening. What happened between then and now? Where are my little things here? Let's see. Listen to this. This is last Monday. This is last Monday. Cut 26.
Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Your allies, James Clyburn, Nancy Pelosi, have kind of put it out there that they're waiting for your decision, giving you time to make your decision. What I hear from you is that you made your decision. Are you still comfortable in that decision? Has anything changed in the last several days?
No. 14 million people voted for me to be the nominee in the Democratic Party. Okay? I listen to them.
Well, what happened to that? Barack Obama gets on the phone. Who threatened him? Who gave him an offer he couldn't refuse? What happened? The party, they call themselves Democrats. They've been whining about democracy for the past 5 years. What's going on? We're just going to, okay, he's going to give a nice speech saying, yeah, I'm not up to it. It's Kamala's turn. What about all these statements? What? Granted, Joe Biden was on course to be a total disaster, right? I saw that in the, and this is again last Monday as well. What was Joe going to do going forward in this condition? Well, he told us, and it didn't sound like a winning message. Cut 27.
If the opportunity came up to do one between now and then, is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events, met thousands of people, overwhelming crowds, a lot happening. I'm on the horse. What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people that I'm in command of all my faculties, that I don't need notes, I don't need teleprompter. I can go out and answer any questions at all.
I have command of all my faculties. I don't drool in public. I can walk and not fall down. The presidency is a bit more than that, isn't it? And it's not just can you answer a question. It's like the quality of the answer, right? Remember, what was it? The pursuit of excellence. That was like a phrase that defined a decade, the 1980s. People pursued excellence. Now we pursue attention. Now we pursue likes on social media. Now we pursue what can I get for being a person of whatever, right? Not on my merits. Judge me by my skin color. Judge me by what's on the outside. Judge me by who I want to sleep with. Judge me by my genitalia or lack thereof. Judge me by, let's see, do I like to dress up in women's clothes? That's a big one too, right? Drag, right? And it's a civil right somehow in this environment for me to hang around with children. Look, all right, a lot going on. I want to know what happened. And if they think that Kamala Harris is just going to walk into this and that's the plan, they're going to pretend she's normal. They're going to pretend that she hasn't been on drugs for the past 5 years. We've all seen it. The woman is under the influence. All right. We know it. And if you don't, you're going to find out. We're going to show you. All right. Because there's evidence. Also, forget all the, and it's fair game, by the way. It is totally fair game. And it's part, right now I hear, if you talk about whether or not she was a diversity hire, which in fact she was, DEI, nobody likes DEI, right? It's okay to talk about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Equity, everybody gets the same amount. No, that's not what it's. This is crazy, radical stuff, and we're allowed to talk about it. We're also allowed to talk about the weird way she became vice president in the first place. Remember, Joe Biden just kind of dropped out? Joe Biden's opponents just dropped out overnight. Joe Biden came in 4th place in Iowa. He came in 5th place in New Hampshire. He does well in South Carolina, and everybody drops out, and it's just him. And some congressman named Clyburn tells the whole world, I want Joe to pick a black woman. And he picks a black woman. Or whatever she is. Sorry. There's been some dispute about that, right? There's been a conversation about that. And she happens to pick a person of virtually no accomplishment. Well, what do you mean? She's a United States senator. She was a United States. Man, haven't we learned anything since Trump showed up? Right? That the people who should be considered worthy of the biggest job in the world should have world-class accomplishments and achievements under their belt. You just want another senator, another grubby career politician? And we'll go through that. We'll look at it, right? What has she done other than hang around powerful men and get rewarded for her relationships? Willie Brown. I don't care that she was a prosecutor. We now know more than ever that prosecutors, what difference? First of all, it's like Eric Adams saying, I'm a cop. Nobody knows law enforcement like Eric. Yo, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're good. Doesn't mean first of all, there are 50,000 cops who are better on duty right now. There are plenty of prosecutors on duty right now better than Kamala. Unfortunately, there are now a lot of woke weirdos who are running these offices as well, thanks to George Soros and a lot of other strange stuff that's been going on. So it's her. It does throw me for a little bit of a loop. It does. and I see how enthusiastic and how pumped up they are. Why are they so pumped up? Boy, oh boy, they have discipline. The left, they have discipline. Because these same people who are so ecstatic about her right now were telling me two things a week ago. Number one, 99% chance that Biden remains the nominee. Really? Yep. 99% chance. Also, one of the reasons why is because, well, Kamala was such a screw up. And everybody knows that. All right. So there's a big speech tonight. Not a big speech. It's going to be a weird speech. And I guess he'll finally tell us why he's leaving. You got to give us a reason. Hey, when Richard Nixon stepped down, 1974, it's kind of on that scale a little bit. Well, actually, here's a better example. Lyndon Johnson. You know, Lyndon Johnson was running for re-election in 1968, and he drops out basically because his poll numbers are too low, and he's probably going to get beat. But he didn't want to use that as a reason, so he used this as a reason. Cut 28.
I do not believe that I should devote an hour or a day of my time to any personal partisan causes or to any duties other than the awesome duties of this office, the presidency of your country.
All right. That's it. That's the excuse. He was so consumed with Vietnam, he wanted to not take his eye off the ball. He had to not worry about his own reelection, just focus on peace. Okay. Also, he couldn't win. Richard Nixon, Watergate. He had a reason. Not that he was about to be impeached. He expressed it a little bit differently, but it was a reason. Cut 29.
From the discussions I have had with congressional and other leaders, I have concluded that because of the Watergate matter, I might not have the support of the Congress that I would consider necessary to back the very difficult decisions and carry out the duties of this office in the way the interests of the nation will require.
All right. He lost his base. You got to give a reason. And Joe Biden the other day in that silly letter, in that weird letter with the auto pen and not presidential stationery, just his own Joe Biden Jr. Typed, written. Who wrote it for him? Who signed it for him? Did he do it? I have my doubts. I have my concerns. He didn't put a Y in there. He just said, I have decided that for the best of the party in the country, I will not run for re-election. That's it. Why? Why? I think it was probably, this is one of the reasons why you don't want a compromised president. Because individuals who are not elected can exert outsized influence on these people who are supposed to be, taking care of the people. He's got to take care of his own ass. And Donald Trump predicted this on January 12th, I believe. This is January 12th of 2021. This is after January 6th, but before Inauguration Day. He is still president, but he's leaving office. And some people were yelling and screaming about the 25th Amendment back then for Trump. Jesus. 25th Amendment, again, I told you, right? You write that letter up and you can oust a president of the United States. It takes a vice president and half the cabinet, and you can render the president, not president. Pretty amazing. Cut 25.
The 25th Amendment is of zero risk to me, but will come back to haunt Joe Biden and the Biden administration. As the expression goes, be careful what you wish for.
This guy is a sorcerer sometimes, a good sorcerer. He is how his ability to predict and to feel and to know, and kind of a good rule of thumb, he's basically always right. He's basically always right. All right. Hey, Christopher Wray, the weird FBI director, is testifying in his typical cagey way on the attempted assassination. Huge information on that, by the way, courtesy of Dan Bongino. You know Dan, right? He's big in the radio, podcasting. He's a former Secret Service guy. And I heard some stuff from him that makes a hell of a lot of sense and explains a little bit about what's going on when we come back.
Greg Kelly. This is the Greg Kelly Show.
All right, so Bongino said something that was fascinating. Remember the sniper, the Secret Service sniper team? There are two teams behind Trump. The one that most of us have seen, the guys on the red roof, right over Trump's right shoulder. They're not the ones who actually engaged the shooter. It was the other team that you can't see in that shot. They're basically stage right, or they're to the right of Trump as you're looking at him. I guess that's stage left. I don't know. Over to the right side as you're looking at Trump. What is that? I could never master that concept, but and people have been wondering. Well, for a couple of reasons, this team we were able to see, it looks like they're looking at the shooter the whole time, right? It looks, now we don't know that, but it looks that way. All right. So what's going on here is the Secret Service sniper team, the one that actually engaged the guy. It looks like they saw the shooter prior, but they thought that it was a local sniper team that was supposed to be on the roof, that was supposed to be there. And that makes total sense to me. Like, okay, how could you not see that guy, number one, if that's what you're doing, scanning the horizon, looking for threats, right? I mean, that's what snipers do. Or looking for targets, or looking for potential targets, whatever. And if they saw that guy, they saw the gun, they thought, okay, that's one of our guys, right? That makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. It doesn't excuse anything. I mean, my God. Now, also, I don't know who's responsible, and I want to get out of the we can't be dissuaded from pursuing whatever they call it, the blame game. We don't want to play the blame game. Shut up. All right? We don't want this happening again. And we want people who are responsible to never be in a position to protect the president, okay? And if you just say, well, they're all heroes and let's move on. So I don't know what law enforcement, apparently it was local law enforcement, and Bongino made this distinction as well. It's like by local law enforcement, he means non-Secret Service personnel. So whoever was supposed to be up there, whether it was Butler Police or County Police or state police, whatever. One of those agencies apparently was supposed to be on that roof and they weren't. Maybe it was too hot. Maybe they thought they could see it from the other window. Who the hell knows why? We don't. There's so much we don't know. And there is a lot of speculation going on. And it's not being a conspiracy theorist. It's being a critical, independent thinker. And what's amazing is all of the mistakes that have been committed by the Secret Service, a lot of them are happening all over again. All over again. I told you that Secret Service agents, some of them got in trouble, the ones who protected Kennedy because they were out until 3 a.m. Some were out until 5 a.m. the night before. Secret Service agents were partying until 5 in the morning the day that Kennedy was shot and killed. And guess what happened in Colombia? Remember? In 2012, under Obama? The prostitutes.
You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
What you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow. I'd be fine with that.
You'd be fine with that? Well, what about the American people? What about democracy? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like what our founding fathers had in mind. They elect some hotshot, some guy who looks cool, some guy who makes people think, oh, look at me, I'm voting for Obama. Aren't I special? Aren't I totally with it and cool and stylish? I just voted for a man who has no business being president, has no resume to be president, but then again, hey, he happens to be black, or at least that's how he identifies. So by pulling this lever for Barack Obama, I am cool, right? I'm special. That makes me, I am so with it, I can't stand myself. Well, I was one of those chumps. I was conned by the whole damn thing. I thought, wow, isn't this cool? Yeah. Well, actually, there were a couple of other reasons why I voted for him. Number one, doesn't matter now. Doesn't matter. I was wrong about everything. 2008. And then he gets to hang around and call the shots. What year is it? 2024? Are you crazy? 16 years later, we're still putting up with this guy. 16 years later. And I am hearing from some of the most plugged-in people in the Biden world that this was an Obama operation to get his girlfriend in the White House. His girlfriend being Kamala. They definitely hooked up at some point. They definitely hooked up. Oh, yeah. Now, who else they hooked up with and what else was in the room? And I have a feeling it wasn't traditional. All right, I don't think it was a traditional, I'll meet you at the hotel. It wasn't that way. I'm talking island that you've never even heard of, that you could never even go to, even if you found it on a map and you wanted to be there, okay? This is like a special, special place for special, special people. It's more than a hunch, okay? It's a lot more than a hunch. It's a lot more. And I don't like this. He actually said publicly, he expressed his affection for this woman in the strangest way. He had to apologize for it. He was gushing over how good looking and sexy she was. I'll find it for you. It was in about 2013 or so. She's the Attorney General. Gosh, silly me. I thought this was a country based on merit. Now it's all about right? We can't let her get away with, just because it's her. Everything that Biden did is her. Losing in Afghanistan, that's on her. Not having a border, that's definitely on her. Remember the whole border czar? And the fake news enemy of the people, that's not strong enough. They are rewriting their own copy right now as we speak, their own reports. They said in 2021, they reported accurately that she had been made the border czar. And now they're all taking that back. Well, technically, she wasn't the border czar. She was the coordinator of Southwest border policies, and that is not what border czar. We all saw him. Biden give her that. Everybody thought, oh, by the way, that he was trying to sabotage her because Biden hates Kamala, and Kamala hates Biden. They have been warring for years. Now, the part of it that I think they're getting away with a little bit right now is the idea that she was a joke, or the knowledge that she's a joke, was reserved for people who engage conservative media and elite Democrats, because they knew it. They absolutely knew it. Oh, I see. They went out of their way to snub, to insult our most precious ally, Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu. Why is it? Why the hell is it that everybody fawns all over Zelensky, right? And the guy doesn't even bother to put a shirt with a collar on when he comes here to our country, staying at the Viceroy Hotel, and he only wears a T-shirt. Everybody stops. They start waving the Ukraine flag all over the place. 10-minute round of applause. Netanyahu, Bibi, our friend, they're not even showing up for his speech. He was invited to address a joint session of Congress. It's a major league honor. And if you have a shred of decency, you facilitate that as the executive branch. You greet him. They're not seeing him until tomorrow. Kamala Harris is the president of the Senate, technically, right now. She's not even showing up. This is what's known as a more than a snub. It's a FU. It is a middle finger. And it's worse than a middle finger because we have been undermining our ally. We've been shortchanging them. We've been quibbling about tactics. We've been saying you can't use this bomb. Don't use that weapon. You can use this missile, but not that one. Shut up. They're defending their civilization. What happened to them on October 7th? That's also like, October 7th? I noticed that day somehow is not as emblazoned in people's minds as January 6th. January 6th. It's so stupid I could spit. Wow. Never forget what a nut job she is. And here's, let's see here. Will unleash at the right moment. Will unleash at the right moment. That's coming. It's coming momentarily, actually. But we have to be coordinated. No, it doesn't matter. I'm still obsessed with Joe Biden just leaving after all that yelling and screaming, and that he would run till the end and never give up, and 14.5 million people, he can't let them down. Hey, Lara Trump, the head of the Republican Party, dropped by Sid and Friends. Check this out. Cut 8.
The co-chair of the RNC and Trump's beautiful daughter-in-law, Lara Trump. Lara, I saw you this morning on Fox News, on Fox and Friends, and what you were saying is exactly right. You were talking about the party of democracy. Well, if they're the party of democracy, then how do you just anoint Kamala Harris as the next president without any real democratic process? How does that make sense?
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's funny because I assume they thought that they could hide a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes from the American people, but now they're forced to kind of just put it out front. Anyone who wondered, well, what's really going on in the White House? Who's really in control? We all know it hasn't been Joe Biden. Those same people are the ones who are saying, okay, listen, we know that 14 million voters cast a ballot for Joe Biden. We don't care. We're going to force him on out of the race. And instead of doing anything where the people are actually represented in a vote to choose the person for whom they would like to vote in the actual presidential race, we're just going to go right on past that. We're just going to say, you know what, it's going to be Kamala Harris. And the thing is, they actually got themselves backed in a corner here. Remember why they said they were choosing Kamala Harris. Not because she was greatly qualified for the position as vice president, and all you have to do is look at what she's done as vice president, which is zero, to know that she never needed that position. She was never qualified for that position. They said, look, we're going to choose her based on how she looks, based on our DEI hiring, based on all of that nonsense. And now they're stuck with Kamala Harris.
Great points. And I hope she's going to be president someday, Laura. Amazing. Did you see that speech? She is something else. I love it. I love where we are. I love how they've revealed themselves. I don't like it, but at the same time, it's so out in the open. And yes, the fake news will be faker still. Hold on one second. Yes, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Greg?
What's up?
Quite a few times I've heard you talk about how you thought Michelle Obama might be the nominee.
Right.
And, I watch her show. I watch other people's show on WABC. And when Dominic Carter comes on, I hear him talking about, he doesn't name anybody specifically, but he'll say he notices how other hosts on this network are bringing up Michelle Obama to be the nominee because they're looking for ratings. So...
Hey, listen, he can say whatever he wants. I love Dominic. I don't listen to his show because I'm too busy. I know it's a great show. I have him on. I do catch it from time to time. He can say whatever the hell he wants, okay? And that's fine. And he has a reason for saying everything he's saying. I love this team, and I love it. Don't try to pit us against each other, okay? But I will say this. It made a lot of sense. It still makes sense that Michelle could be it. I think if Kamala, if the media had been honest, I think that maybe we underestimated that the plan was to get Kamala in there all along, right? And they could use her like they used Joe Biden, right? If she did not show I don't want to say viability because I don't think she's viable, I would still say Michelle Obama. And by the way, no one's been nominated yet. I'd still say Michelle Obama is a dark horse, could still be her. But it's not a rating stunt, pal. It's logic. Hey, Mark, why don't you give me any credit? A year and a half ago, actually 2 years ago, I said that there's no way that Joe Biden will be the nominee. And they called me a conspiracy theorist. Some of the sophisticated political types laughed at me, right? You don't know. Actually, it was just, hey, do we have that clip with me and Mark Halpern? Who I love. He's genius. And 90% of what he says here is correct. Except for the part where he's not correct. Okay. Hey, stand by for a second, Mark. So this is from June 24th. It's 3 days before the debate. And you got the longer version, right? This is the longest one? Okay, good. Listen to this, pal. Go ahead. This is a very early debate. Now, in conservative media, some of us have been speculating that this is really an audition in a way for Joe Biden. If he crashes and burns somehow, they have it early enough where they can make a switch to another nominee, which, quite frankly, sounds plausible to me. Maybe totally wrong, but what do you think of that?
I think I'm ready to hang up on you, Greg.
Stop for a second. All right. Now, I love Halpern, and he's a genius, right? So I now he probably still thinks that even though Biden did crash and burn, that it wasn't deliberate, and he can make that case. I think it was deliberate. Keep going, though. Keep going. Early debate now in conservative media. Yeah, I don't want to hear the whole thing again. You get the point. Yes, Mark. What else?
That's it, man. Love your show. Keep it going.
All right. Don't try to cause fights between the hosts, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Let's see here. Joe in Mount Sinai. Ooh, Joe can be really brutal sometimes. Hello, Joe.
Hello, how are you? I'm like a breath of fresh air. As far as Biden is concerned, the offer they made him was they said we propped you up and we could just cut the legs out from under you and we could embarrass your whole family. And he knows better because he's been a lousy person all his life. And look at all the, I don't want to get into it again. And
I think you're totally, everything you just said, I agree with. He was so compromised, and we're going to make this about your family. And Hunter was so conspicuous, so conspicuously a screw up. And look, they could, that same Justice Department that has gone after Trump, that's gone after Hunter. You don't think it can go after you, Joe? What about your little brother Frank? What about your big brother James? Hey, speaking of Frank, did you hear what he said the other day about all this? Frank was he drunk dialing? That's what they tried to say. Do me a favor, play the clip, the longish one, where he calls into CBS and says what he thinks is going on here. You got that? All right. Listen to this, Joe.
News had a brief conversation with Frank Biden, one of President Biden's two younger brothers, and here's what he told us. He said, "I'm incredibly proud of my brother. Selfishly, I will have him back to enjoy whatever time we have left. He is a genuine hero. Country over self. It sounds corny in our cynical political environment, but he nor I are cynical. The goal remains the same: defeat Trump and continue the work that Joe has done. My hope is that our party rallies around this heroic act." We asked him whether he feels that his brother's overall health and vitality played a major role in this decision, and he says, in my humble opinion, absolutely. So a member of the president's family now confirming that the president's health was indeed a major factor in this decision, and calling his brother a hero for making the decision to pass the torch to Kamala Harris.
All right, so that's on TV, and guess what they see in the White House? They see that report, and they freak the hell out. And they call that same reporter with some nasty little business about Frank Brother, who loves his brother, respects his brother, can't wait to be with his dying brother again with what little time he has left. Listen to what they say about him.
We got word, Nora, from the president's brother earlier today saying that the president's health, he believes, was a factor in his decision. But just a short time ago, I heard from a source close to the Biden family, and they said that Frank Biden, the president's younger brother, is an alcoholic, that he hasn't spoken to the president in weeks, and that the president's health had nothing to do with his decision to leave the race.
Biden family trashing the Biden family. Frank Biden drunk dialing networks with juicy tips. How about that one? But you know what? While that was going down, you know what I think may just happen? And at some point, in another effort to boost artificially, well, I guess it'll be real when it happens. Excuse me. And it could happen tonight. Joe could resign. Kamala becomes the president. She becomes the incumbent. And theoretically, she becomes a hell of a lot harder to beat. But they can't stop Trump, can they? Fight, fight, fight. Never forget. Be right back.
Greg Kelly. listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
We haven't done this yet. The FBI director. Do not trust the FBI. Do not trust Christopher Wray. But he's a Trump appointee. Shut up. He's a deep stater. One of these guys who goes in and out of government, making a lot of money, then going back and he made $10 million one year, this guy. $10 million as a partner at some law firm. What kind of work is... Sorry, I don't see it. These lawyers, by the way, man, oh man, oh man, the way they bill, I used to respect and revere, right? Lawyers, the law. I see how corrupt it all is. It's beautiful on paper. All right, we don't trust them because they tried to sabotage Trump in 2016. They tried to sabotage him in 2020, and they're sabotaging him, I believe, all over again. They screw up just about everything they touch. I mean, look, what's to like? Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now he's getting. Are we getting the truth finally? Why didn't they tell us right away? But listen to this. Go ahead.
Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director Wray, for being here. How many shots did the shooter fire?
Well, we know that he fired at least 8 because we recovered 8 cartridges on the roof.
Okay, and are all the cartridges and the unspent bullets, have they been, you know how many there are? You've accounted for all of those?
Stop. 8. 8 times. 8 shots. And it wasn't just pull the trigger. No, it's bang, 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 bang. How in the hell did that happen? Dick Cheney, Judge Ludig, you guys running around saying he's a clear and present threat, danger to America. Joe Biden yesterday saying Donald Trump is a danger to the community, a danger to the nation. You guys essentially authorized this. You did, didn't you? Let's face it. You authorized this. And the Secret Service, a chunk of it, somehow looked the other way so this maniac could get into position. Keep going.
We
We
believe we have. Again, there was lots of work still ongoing, but yes, we believe we have accounted.
And did the recovered shells, the cartridges, match the shooter's rifle?
My recollection is yes.
Wait a second. Your recollection? Your recollection? I seem to remember that. You're the FBI. See, they're always... Never mind. It's disgusting. I am curious what happens next, so keep going.
My recollection is yes.
And you conducted analysis that confirms that?
Well, we work with ATF, but yes, so some of the work has been divided.
Just speak, you mealy-mouthed jerk!
Casings were recovered from the location of the counter snipers.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part.
From the counter snipers location.
That I don't have the answer, at least here at my fingertips.
Why not? You know what you need at the FBI? Raymond W. Kelly. He had everything at his fingertips. The organization, the information, the world, right? This is a bureaucrat passing the buck. Oh, and you know what needs to be investigated? It's not just the shooter. He said, we're just investigating the shooter. Well, what about the response? Because there could be a criminal element to the response. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? That's potentially part of the crime. And the FBI is not examining what is, I think, probably the crime. Providing that avenue, providing that opportunity for this maniac shooter in the first place.